I'd love to introduce Angelica, who is the Vice President of Homeownership Services with Habitat for Humanity, Greater San Francisco. We are very excited to be partnering and working with Habitat for Humanity, Greater San Francisco, for our 4 homes in Bolinas that we are getting ready to sell. So they will be sold through Habitat for Humanity. And I want to give Angelica a chance to just talk a little bit about Habitat and what they do, and kind of generally what it takes to become a homeowner through Habitat, some other opportunities that they will be having outside of West Marin coming. Thank you for joining us, Angelica.
Thank you. So as Evan mentioned, my name is Angelica. I oversee our home ownership program at Habitat for Humanity Greater San Francisco. I've been with the organization 8 years. I actually have a very close connection to Habitat. I actually grew up in a Habitat home. When I was 12 years old, my family was able to purchase our first home, and it's actually still home for my parents. I don't live with them, but it's always a home that I can go back to even today. So for me to work at Habitat is a real honor. And it's, of course, a mission that I hold very close to my heart. So thank you, everyone. Our mission at Habitat Greater San Francisco is to both build and sustain affordable homeownership. We serve families in Marin, San Francisco, and San Mateo counties. There are other habitats in the Bay Area, like East Bay, Silicon Valley, where my parents own their home. So we all function independently, and I think that's really important for everyone here to know. Our values are really focused on partnership, equity, stability, and legacy. So as Evan mentioned, I will actually be keeping things pretty high level. We're still figuring out details. As mentioned earlier, I'll do my best to answer any questions, but anything I don't know the answer to, we can just follow up after. I plan on just talking about our requirements, general requirements, our restrictions, the pricing of the homes, the process, and the sweat equity, which is very unique to Habitat. So all habitats, even though I just said that we all function independently, we actually still abide by the same criterion for all applicants. The first is that we want to make sure that our home buyers are able to pay a mortgage. And for us, what that means is that we're going to look at your income. We're also going to look at your credit because our hope is that you are able to make monthly payments and that you don't default and we don't have to foreclose. I'm really proud to say that at our affiliate, we have had 0 foreclosures and we've been around for a little over 30 years. The second criterion is the need for housing. At our affiliate, we define need as your income level. If you make, basically, if you can see that little graphic on the right, we need to make a lot more than $350K to buy a market rate home. And the majority of people like myself don't make that. So if you make anywhere from low to moderate income, that means that you have need. The third is your willingness to partner with Habitat. What that really looks like is the sweat equity piece. Sweat equity are volunteer hours. We have a requirement of up to 500 hours. 500 is for new construction. We're building new homes right now in San Francisco, for example. But for homes that have already been built, since there isn't a lot of work to do, we've cut that in half to 250 hours. And that also includes homebuyer education. Another component of willingness to partner is complying with our restrictions. So our homes do come with restrictions, and I'll talk about that in a moment. Some of our general requirements that I feel very safe sharing with you all is that you need to be a first-time home buyer. For us, that means that you can't have owned a home in the last 3 years at time of application. So let's say we open up the applications for the homes in Bolinas, I don't know, in November of this year, then that means that you can't have owned, prior to November of 12 minus 3, 2019. Sorry, rely on my cell phone a lot for the calculator. So Just make sure that you haven't had a principal residence in the last 3 years to be considered a first-time home buyer. You do need to be a permanent resident or citizen. We do a criminal, sex offender, and money laundering background screening for anyone who's going to be on title. And as I mentioned earlier, we really expect for our buyers to have strong credit. And that's not just a score of 650. We're looking at collections, judgments, and bankruptcies as well. So we do have restrictions on our homes. In general, they are anywhere from 55 up to 99 years. One of the primary restrictions is that we have the first right to repurchase your home if you choose to sell it back. We will also prohibit our homeowners from borrowing against their home. There are inheritance conditions. I know that a lot of families, want to make sure that if something were to happen, that their loved ones are protected. So this doesn't mean that your loved ones can't inherit the home, but what it does mean is that there are certain conditions, and that would be, the conditions that I talked about a moment ago about making sure that they fit the income range that you all fit in and whatever other requirements were placed at the time that you purchased. And then lastly, and very important, is that your home must be your principal residence. It's not an income property. You can't put it on Airbnb. You need to live in your home at least 10 months out of the year. And we do actually enforce this by doing an occupancy verification process every other year. The biggest question that I get in my role is, well, how much does a Habitat home cost? And it's a very complicated answer. What I can say is that we price our homes affordably to first-time home buyers. And the way that we do that is that our buyers don't pay more than 30% of their gross household income at time of purchase. So we do need an appraisal for the homes, and that's a restricted fair market value appraisal. And so as you can imagine, there's a gap, right, between the appraisal and what your gross household income is. So we basically fill in that gap with loans. Most of them are forgivable, but it all depends on what the subsidies are. The point is that we do not expect for our buyers to pay more than 30% at time of purchase. We also currently do not require any interest on our mortgage. So it's a zero interest loan, which is amazing and unheard of. We are the lender at Habitat. And then lastly, in general, we actually don't require a down payment. So I think earlier, maybe it was Pam that mentioned, having a 20% down for a market rate home. We currently don't require a down payment either. The housing payment. So I just talked about this a moment ago. Typically what our housing payment includes is your principal. So that's your mortgage. It would also include your property taxes, your homeowner's insurance, and maybe other fees. So for example, we sometimes prorate utilities, or if you belong to a homeowners association, it would also include that. But you can count on at least your principal, taxes, and homeowner's insurance to be included in your housing payment. And then the process. So we've changed our process over the last several years. If any of you have applied for our program in the past, I think we used to have a wait list years ago. We do a lottery process, and we've actually gone virtual. We went virtual in the nick of time, right when the pandemic happened. So what we require is that you fill out a lottery application. It's a very simple application. It takes less than 5 minutes. That would then get you into our lottery. The lottery would determine the order in which we process applications. And so if your lottery number is 1, we'll invite you to submit a full application, and that's when my team will gather all your income and credit and background and residency documents and qualify you. Our board of directors approves our homeowners, and so that's the last step. There is an interview that happens really to just assess your willingness to partner with Habitat. And then after that is all said and done, and you've been approved for our program, is when you would start your sweat equity hours. And that is working on the homes. It also includes first-time home buyer education and other community projects. And then finally, and definitely, like, I think the most important piece is that you're able to purchase your home. So after you finish sweat equity is when you would then, we'd open escrow, and then you would move into your home. For 250 hours on average, it takes about 3 months for families to complete this. This all depends though on your community. If you have a big family like myself, you might get your hours done really quickly. And if you just come from a smaller family, it might take you a little bit longer. But on average, 250 hours is about 3 months. Sweat equity, it's really important for us. It really is an opportunity for us to establish our partnership. It's an opportunity to build community and for our future home buyers to learn new skills and gain some education. And that is actually the end of my presentation. There it is, the sweet picture. I said everything there. Oh, really important. You don't have to do it alone. Friends and family can help. So we do have a requirement for our applicants, the people that will be on title, but the majority of the hours can be done by friends and family.
Thank you, Angelica.
You're
I
welcome.
wanted to, before you go away, I just wanted to add, so that the sweat equity piece, I know just for the people in the room, we have discussed that being a process where we can invite community to volunteer time to help people get that sweat equity. That's something we're talking about. So those large families out here tend to be chosen family. So that's something that can happen. And I just wanted to see, Angelica, if there's anything you can say about how the process is going to be a little bit different in terms of working through our wait list and having people join that first to get to this for the Bolinas homes. That would be just a little clarification would be great.
Yeah, specifically for our partnership with Bolinas, we are really going to refer everyone to the BCLT wait list. That's the list that we're going to work with. So when our marketing starts, that's actually where we're going to be referring any clients to. And this is a structure that we just completed with the Mayor's Office of Housing in San Francisco. Anyone who was interested in the 8 homes in Diamond Heights signed up through the Mayor's Office of Housing, so it works similarly. And so it is going to be a real partnership between BCLT and Habitat Greater SF. It's a new partnership. Be patient with us. Evan and I are going to be working really closely together. And like she said, we'll really be partnering on the sweat equity piece and really just ensuring that you're receiving the support through this journey. Our main office is in San Francisco, so it's really important for us that you have resources that are accessible to you all in Marin.
Thank you. And yes, I know there are faces in the room that are eager to know more and are excited about applying when the opportunity comes. If you're on our wait list, you will get that information as soon as we have it. As Angelica says, we are still putting together kind of how that's all going to look, and we want to come to you with information that's solid and not going to change and is clear. So yes, be patient with us. I know you all are, and we are really excited to keep moving forward.